The cases announced today involving the Daily Mail represent a milestone in the history of journalism in Britain. It is the biggest thing to have happened since the Leveson inquiry. We have learned lots since the Leveson inquiry, but the fact that 6 people of this standing, Prince Harry and Doreen Lawrence, Elton John, are prepared to take on the Mail, which is ferociously litigious, on this issue of whether they were spied on, that's what it comes down to, by Mail journalists, is a remarkable event. Even, let's see how it pans out. The fact that they're ready to challenge is extraordinary. And that we have come to this after all the Daily Mail's denials, and it has denied and denied and denied since phone hacking broke in the a dozen years ago. It has denied everything along the way. Now it is basically in the dock and going to have to defend itself. And I think what plays out now will be absolutely fascinating and very important for the character of journalism in this country. The Daily Mail is the most powerful newspaper in the UK. It is because of the Daily Mail, that we have Liz Truss as Prime Minister. They, more than anybody, engineered her elevation. They are now in the dock for spying on quite significant, important people. Elton John may be a pop star, but he is a national treasure, an important figure, global figure. Prince Harry, we all know, that's royalty, but it's also one of the most prominent people on the planet, one of the most talked about people on the planet, at least. And then Doreen Lawrence, well, that is just extraordinary. The Daily Mail is so close historically to Doreen Lawrence, having published a front page about her. Now she has, about her son's case, now she is turning on them and accusing the Daily Mail of spying on her. Now, she's in the past accused the police of spying on her, and that caused a scandal. Doreen Lawrence suing the Daily Mail turns the story, gives another incredible twist to the story of one of the most torrid and awful murder stories in the UK. The Mail was the newspaper which published the famous Murderer's front page. It accused 5 young men of murdering her son, Stephen Lawrence, at a time when they hadn't been convicted. It said that they were murderers and defied them to sue. It caused a sensation at the time. This was 1997. It caused a sensation at the time. It really, everybody for days afterwards was talking about what the Daily Mail had done. Was this right? Was this trial by media? One thing it did do was promote the case to the focus of public attention. Now, it wasn't unknown, but it certainly lifted the case in people's. Now, since then, it has to be said, the Mail has played a rather dubious hand with the case. When eventually 2 of the men it named on its front page were convicted in 2012 of the murder, the Mail engaged in a kind of orgy of self-congratulation, as if its campaigning had secured almost single-handed justice for Stephen Lawrence and for Doreen Lawrence. This was all grotesquely exaggerated. The Mail had done very little to support the Lawrence family since that front page. But for the Mail, this is terribly important because it's a paper that is often accused of racism with often good cause. But it holds up the Daily Mail front page support for the Lawrence case and its intervention in the Lawrence case as a model of its journalism that stretches beyond race. And it's a justification for the kind of paper that the Mail is. And yet it's not a justification, it's a hollow story. And the fact that Doreen Lawrence is now suing, she has always kept pretty quiet about the Mail. It's been a kind of frosty relationship at times, I suspect, but she's always kept pretty quiet about the Mail. Even, she's a Labour peer who campaigns on race issues. She's not taken the Mail on head on, so far as I'm aware. Now she's taking them on her own case, and she's accusing them basically of spying on her. Now that's absolutely extraordinary. The timing of this, we don't know the details, but the timing of this is almost certainly falls in with the other cases, the years about 1996, 7, until perhaps 2010, 2012, maybe. Now, falling in that period, this was the time when the Mail said it was supporting the Stephen Lawrence campaign, the campaign to bring his killers to justice. Spying on his mother, who herself had become a very prominent and extremely highly respected personality. That was really, it's a very, very dangerous case against the Mail. It will be very interesting to see how it responds.